caught me. How you all going? I've just whipped up here again. I'm sort of a bit bored with work, so I thought I'd get out for a little while and have a bit of a break. I hope you're all doing well. I'm loving the feedback you guys are giving me about doing this, so I'm pumped about coming up every day and doing this, and feel like sometimes I want to stay on forever. But it's impossible because, as we all know, life goes on. I have to work, although I reckon I'm close to moving on into my own little world. Every day I think about embarking on my own journey and leaving all the corporate world behind. So I'm going to do what we've done the last couple of days, and if we get a conversation up and going, fabulous. If not, that's cool too. So I'm going to read you a card from the Animal Spirit Guidebook. I received a beautiful deck of cards yesterday. Thank you. You know who you are. And it was absolutely beautiful. So I'll get used to it though, because some of them are a little bit sort of different to the traditional decks. So, I ordered a deck too, the ethereal something deck. I can't remember the name of it. It was really pretty. It's shiny. That's the main thing. All right. Animal spirit. See, even if I have to lift the cards up that high to show you me shuffling, that just seems so silly. And someone said, lower your screen down. I'm like, I've got a computer. The computer is in the screen. Okay. All right. We've got two again. So I've got two that are snuck out. Very interestingly, we have the crow and the bee. So a couple of times Spirit's done that this week, and it looks like one, and I've taken it, and there's been one hiding. Hey, Hayley, how you going? Okay, so we have the bee and the crow. The crow came out first, though, so I'll read the crow first. All righty. Let's see if I can be a whiz with the book and find them nice and quickly. They are both air signs. Well, there's the bee. Crow. Okay, let's read the crow first. They're nowhere near each other in the book. Okay, this is about spirituality, strong, creative, and watchful. The crow has long been a symbol of magic. A crow personality is drawn to the supernatural and has a gift for seeing the unseen, knowing the unknown. It is said that the crow holds within its mind's eye the three realities, past, present, and future. Crow energy is potent and should only be tapped into when the mind is clear. Those with crow tendencies must balance their lives with a healthy diet, joyful friends, and regular self-study. Wow, this is a sign of strong. It's funny because I've just been watching a couple of things. That's actually really a raven on there, but I won't argue about what it looks like. I've just been watching a couple of things. There's a couple of people I follow on YouTube who are a little bit out there, but I really enjoy watching them. They challenge my thinking. And this guy was talking about the fact that even though he's sort of a bit of a, how would you call it? Like a bit of a guru, a bit of a self-help guru. He was talking about the fact that at this time, we are being called to bring up past stuff that we're not dealing with. So there's a lot of people out there who have actually been quite sort of logical and sort of proactive in their own fields, who are now slightly moving towards spirituality a bit more, which is really interesting. And he was talking about the fact that he believes that this is why we started talking about the spiritual aspects of what's going on at the moment. I thought it was really interesting. Okay, so the other card we had was the card of the bee. Now, I know people aren't getting the buzzers straight away with my readings. Some people are saying it can take up to 20 minutes to come through, so it might be why we're getting a bit of a burst in the middle. Okay, so the card of the bee is about being earnest, hardworking, and democratic. The bee personality is a delight to be around, especially when there's a team project on the horizon. Bees love to work steadily and thoughtfully until the final task is complete. They are sensitive creatures aware of many subtleties at once. Since they're artists at heart, they usually add creative detail to the overall vision. For the most part, they have busting, joyous personalities until they're too tired from all the work. Then they gripe and then they sting. Very interesting. I'm trying to work out why they've brought this out with the crow. And what I want to say to you is they talk about this little guy being really creative, right? And I know that our creativity is really, really important for us to access our psychic abilities. So, I always say to people, if you want to access that part of yourself that's hidden to you, being creative is a really good way to get into your psychic abilities. Now, as we talked about the other day when we were talking about meditation, doing something creative takes you into that side of your brain and it leaves the other side of your brain alone for a little while. And for some unknown reason, if you start to become creative, you start to increase your psychic ability. Now, I'm sure that there's a very strong reason for that. And I'm not even going to even try to attempt it. But I know that when you speak to people, if they've been writing poetry, writing stories, painting, it takes them into a very meditative state and it allows them to access their psychic ability. And I'm feeling this is why that's come out with the crow. Very interesting, though, that they've come out together. So it's sort of like a really sort of like getting out of your logical brain, getting out of your brain that goes, all the time into that part of your brain that's a little bit less used. Everybody's been asking me about my nails. They've gone. One of them came off last night and I was like, well, that's going to look bad going on with one nail. My daughter was like, just go and have them done. I'm like, are the nail salons even open, Sarah? And she said, well, I don't know. Go and have a look. It won't hurt you to go and get your nails done. She said, you go for it. And I was like, okay, I'll think about it. And then I thought, I'll take them all off and start again when I'm ready. So between no nails and I also cut myself yesterday. I've had a few accidents since I've been in lockdown. I get a little, I know people see me watching and look how many people are on now. Hi, SS. Hi, Diana. Hi, my angel. I get a little, I know when people watching me prepare vegetables, they're always like, be careful with that knife. I'm like, I'm fine. Let me go. I'm okay. I do get a little dangerous and I need a little snip every now and again to sort of pull me in line. The readings were very beautiful this morning, especially the bonus read. It was very emotional. So I have another wound from cutting cheese and I pulled my toenail off almost completely a couple of weeks ago, moving furniture. Completely. Pulled my whole toenail off, ripped it right off. And it was very painful. So I've got this thing, because I'm on my own, I guess it doesn't really matter a whole lot, but I've got this thing that I'll start to sing when I've hurt myself. Because if I can sing for a little while, it sort of makes the pain go. So I usually just burst into some sort of operatic aria or something. Hey, Jules, how you going? I have been in the wards, Hayley. I don't know what's wrong. I've had a few things, and I said it sort of, I think it's because sometimes we spend time up in our minds and we forget we're doing things. Instead of staying focused on the task, we sort of get lost a little bit up there. And I think that sometimes I get really like focused on doing things and I want to get something done. And when I do that, I tend to sort of, sometimes do something stupid. And my daughter's like, if you don't ring me, if you don't let me know you're on Facebook in the morning and the afternoon, I'm going to worry you've done something. I'm like, I'm fine, Sarah. But then I think you wouldn't really know with me. Okay, so we have the card of the thinker out. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. The thinker. It's card number 44 for anybody who's doing the whole numerology thing. "44. This is about strategy and being analytical and logical, which is quite interesting now looking back to the other things. Interesting, isn't it? Because I'm thinking the bee sort of talked about, for you guys that just didn't get on, I pulled from the animal spirit deck and I got the two cards came out, the crow and the bee. And the crow sort of talks about the psychic side and I guess the more spiritual side. And the bee talks about the logical side, the more practical side. And I obviously, Spirit is trying to say, if you can't access your psychic ability, go to your logical side and be creative. Do what you need to do to be creative so that we can allow the messages to come through. And then I get the thinker. Very clever. So this is about strategy, being analytical and logical. I've said that twice, but that's okay. We'll just ignore me. The ability to reason and strategize is the focus now. Take things at face value and follow the logical path. Your calculations will prove to be correct, for in this moment there is no deeper meaning than what is obvious. Things are exactly as they seem. You have all the information you need. Keep it simple and you will win at the game of life you're playing right now. Isn't that interesting? So I'm not sure what that's going to make, some sense to people today. Oh, there's more people on here. Hey, Susan. Yeah, your bell did not ring. Some people have been saying the bell didn't ring.
Sorry, I couldn't find Susan in your contacts.
Did you hear that? It's my phone this time, not my iPad. And people have been saying, so Rebecca, I take it you haven't caught me before because you're going, yay. So I'm thinking you're excited about getting on. I have no idea what I was talking about now. See, this is what happens. This is the brain thing. So the thinker, let's get back to it. There is something here to be said with, at the moment, using obviously your brain, using your logic at the moment. Now, I'm not really sure why we're getting the messages about this, because we're being very encouraged to work on those parts of, oh, okay, I thought that might have been what it was. Those parts of ourselves that perhaps we don't always use. So, it's hard to be sort of in your logical brain. Okay, maybe because we're in lockdown at the moment, a lot of people are getting lost in their imaginations and in their illogical thoughts. Maybe that's why we're getting this message. Maybe a lot of us need to come back to what really matters at the moment. But I'll let you have a think about that. It's really interesting. Hey, Carla, how are you going? Oh, you're happy you caught me. Thank you. I'm happy I caught you too. So I don't know where I was up to. I was having a conversation with my phone as well, apparently. So that was what came out, the bee and the crow. So you'll have to go back and watch them now just to understand why that was. The bell did not ring. Yes, I've had a few people say their bells aren't ringing. Somebody said to me yesterday, I think, or the day before, that the bell didn't go off until like 20 minutes into this session. So she was a bit disappointed she missed it. But I don't know why that is. YouTube's really strange. A couple of people wrote to me yesterday, yeah, the bell didn't ring. See, Gigi's the same. A couple of people said to me yesterday too that they'd gone back to watch one of the previous videos that I'd done, and it was just unwatchable. It kept buffering and wouldn't load up properly, and I can't remember what somebody called it, but they said that it was sort of like all crackly, and I was like, okay, so I'm not really sure. Like, these are done live on YouTube. I don't actually tape these and put them up. They're actually live to YouTube. So I guess if YouTube's having problems or it's a bit overloaded or a bit busy, it might make a difference. I like that. Toes are about being in the moment and movement forward. Fingers are creative thoughts and written words. That's very nice, Jules. So I won't stay on for too long today. I'm probably need a daytime nap today. I haven't got halfway through my work today, and I've had a couple of really sort of long, intense phone calls. So I thought I'd come up and do this now so I could go down and finish my pizza off from last night. And no bell for you either. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we need to have a little bit more of, I mean, it's difficult when you're working as well, but maybe I can start to get, once things sort of settle down a bit, I can do this at a particular time of the day so people can catch me. But we'll have a think how it unravels. Good morning, Jess from Perth. How are you going? I reckon if I stayed on for a couple of hours, I'd have a lot of people would know that I was online and catch up with me. But because I just sort of, I don't know, do the phantom thing where I just sort of flash in, flash out again, I don't always catch everybody. So reading the comments. Sorry. Reading the comments. I just wanted to. My angel. This morning I picked out the very card that you mentioned to me yesterday, by the way. New York. It's Tuesday night in New York. And you didn't get a notification either, Jess. Maybe somebody doesn't want me to go online. But I'll try and come on about the same time tomorrow because I'm in my lunch half hour. So I'll try and come on about 12:30 tomorrow. So have a little bit of a look out, 12:30 Australian time. How's everybody been watching the bin isolate? Here we go. The bin isolation thing. Is everybody still watching that? I was watching it this morning and I'm thinking the bin isolation, like it is funny and I love it. But I think it's pretty amazing some of the scenery that comes in with it. You know, someone's putting their bin out. I mean, when I put my bin out, I have a factory across the road and a few blocks of flats around the place. Some of these people are putting their bins out and there's like mountains with snow and water and hills and colour. And I'm like, really? And you get to put your bin out in that? It's a blast. 3 p.m. with your meditation. Yeah, they are hilarious, the bin ones. They are really funny. Some of them, the outfits and that are fabulous. But I can understand. I keep hearing these people from overseas going, what, do all of you Aussies have like a fancy dress outfit in the wardrobe? And I want to go, well, of course. Why wouldn't we? Everybody's got a fancy dress. I have two like long velvet medieval dresses for when I did fairs, because we did medieval fairs. So I had all my medieval get up, including my little fairy shoes, which are really cute. But I have nobody to photograph me when I go out to the bin, so I can't get. I'd love to, but I can't. I'd love to join in everything. So, and everybody was talking about the readings too this morning because they were saying that the readings, they were really powerful readings this morning. I have a couple of readers, obviously, I watch too, and sometimes I do the readings I do, and I do mine before I watch or listen to anybody. And sometimes when I sit down to have my coffee, I might put a couple on to watch while I'm having my coffee. And the amount of time the reading that they are doing sounds exactly the same as mine, maybe with a few little differences, is blows me away, because they're just picking up on exactly. And I guess that's, you know, the same for all of us. We resonate with some things and we don't resonate with others. So I've got a few readers that I really enjoy, but I found this guy the other day who was really, really good, and he's only just started out. And I think it's Dion's Destiny. He does pick a card readings, and one came up and I thought, oh, I'll just have a little bit of a look at what he reads like. And he was absolutely really accurate. And I find some of the newer readers, somebody told me they checked out Mystic Redbird Tarot. The girl I said was from New Zealand, and she was so accurate for me. And said they were she was accurate for them too. So I think there's a lot of new people coming in, but they sort of they find it a little hard to be seen because there's a lot of people who have a lot of subscribers. But yeah, so I think it's Dion's Destiny, but he did, I had one on, I had one that I picked. I can't remember what the title was now, just to see what he was like. And he had everything, eye color, hair color, height, everything right. Which really blew me away. So some people are really tuned in, which is Dion's Divine. Thanks, Carly. So you've been watching him too. He's really cool. And he's, I think she's really good too, Jules. So there's a few of the ones that I'm liking at the moment who don't have as many subscribers. I just sort of pick out maybe 5 or 6 that I look at all the time. And I have a couple of really readers that I really love to listen to. And they don't necessarily talk about, love and relationships. They're more talking about the self-development stuff, which I really love because it often gives me, I guess, messages of things, to work on. So I find that sometimes I'm watching things a bit like getting messages through songs and things as well. When you're listening to something and all of a sudden you have that little epiphany moment, which life seems to be a bundle of epiphanies at the moment. So I was watching something today and I went, oh, okay, I've never thought of it that way before. So I'm continuously learning. I'm like just an infant, really, in the whole scheme of things. But sometimes people talk about their own experiences and you're sort of like, I haven't really looked at it that way before. And it might be something that just sort of raises enough for me that I might go and try something new or different. But yeah, Dion's Divine. He was really good. Oh, you're beautiful. Thank you so much. I just like talking about it. And sometimes it's really funny because I stop and I think, nobody's actually talking back to me. I'm actually, in theory, having a conversation by myself here. I know that you respond, but I'm talking to myself. So it's sort of a little bit weird, isn't it? But then, thank goodness for technology. I'm certainly not a person who could go back to being a caveman, that's for sure. Yeah, I really love that we have all the technology we do, and I couldn't even imagine being in lockdown like we are now and not having anyone to talk to. And I can remember years ago when, even before we had really much access to telephones, I'm really old. When we were kids, we used to have what they call we used to have party lines. Now, some of you will be old enough to remember party lines from living in the country. But what happened with the party line, it was a phone line that you shared with several other people. So sometimes you would pick up the phone and you would hear other people talking on the phone, which was great fun as a kid because we could listen to everybody else's conversations. Okay, and thank you for joining me. So we could listen to other people's conversations. But then, of course, you've got to worry that when you're having a conversation that someone else can listen to you. So I think prior to that, when you made a phone call, somebody had to actually lock you into the number you were ringing, but we were able to ring the number. It just meant that sometimes you'd ring and someone else would be on the line talking. So you'd have to wait till they finished before you could make your own phone call. So I remember that. I remember listening into other people's conversations. Half the time I didn't really know who they were or what they meant, but I felt really, I don't know, probably got a bit of excitement out of, being privy to someone's private conversation, which was really bad, but I don't know, we're all human. Yeah, so in those days, that you only had one phone and that was it. Other people were always on the phone, and I can remember like trying to get some time on the phone. Of course, it was in the lounge room, so you never had any privacy. If people were watching the TV, you were trying to make a phone call while the TV was going because that's where your phone was. So, I mean, you never really, thanks, Jules. You never really think back to those times, like what it would be like, now if I only had a phone here. I guess one phone might be okay. But in those days, the television only went for a few hours a day as well. And as did the radio. The radio closed down at, I think, 10:30. I was in Wagga when the radios closed down at, I think it was 10:30. TV finished at like 9 o'clock or something ridiculous. And it didn't start until later in the day. And I remember them starting to bring around daytime shows for the kids to watch, like Sesame Street, because it was probably one of the first ones. Hey, Tammy, how you going? Oh, there you go. No, my electronics go crazy all the time. So the last few days I've been talking to the iPad, and today I brought my phone with me, and I've been talking to the phone. Siri just talks to me out of the blue. Although she doesn't know the answer to why are we here? Tried, or he doesn't. Yeah, so it's really great that we have so much access to television. I don't even know what life was like before Netflix, because I do like my Netflix. I have been known to binge, for a good day on Netflix just to get out of my head for a little while. Old Junee, not far from Wagga. My children were all born in Wagga. Yeah, so I think it's great now that we have all these things to keep us busy. How are you, Joanne? Several minutes late. Yeah, apparently everybody saying the bell didn't go off. So it sort of seems really bizarre to go back to that. But sometimes I read those things on Facebook and it says, oh, $1 million if you can live in this cabin for 1 week without your, I think it's more than a week, actually, it might be a month, without your, mobile phone, without connection or whatever. And I think I went on a cruise. I've been on a few cruises without the coronavirus, luckily. And a few of them, we haven't been able to make phone calls for several days at a time because of where we are out in the, ocean. There's no reception. And I've got to say to you, I can go a day. I can happily go a day. And I know that, oh, hey, Gillian, how you going? I know I could go a day without technology, without any doubt whatsoever. I can put my phone away for a day, no problem. I can go and do something else for the day and not pick up my phone. It's not an issue. There's a bit of a mad catch up the next day when I'm trying to grab hold of everything. And when it was 3 days or whatever it was when we were on the cruise, I remember after 3 days, I was starting to panic that other people would be panicking about me because they couldn't get in touch with me. And the ship we were on didn't have access to the internet either. We were on a very small cruise ship, and I remember we just had no access for the 3 or 4 days that we were sailing. I think that was the Fijian one, actually, around the Fijian Islands, and we didn't have anything. And it was certainly very different. I don't think I got bored. I probably read about 600 books to keep myself busy. But yeah, it's sort of a really weird thing. Susan said 1 to 3 channels. We had 2 in Wagga. We had the local channel, which I can't remember what it was called then, because it would have been before the channels that are there now. But there was a local channel, and there was the ABC, of course. But they all closed down overnight, so there was nothing in the middle of the night. I think I'd have gone crazy because I often turn the TV on at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep, so which is not a good thing to do. Not recommended. But yeah, there was nothing, and then radio, of course, wasn't there too. So unless you actually got up and put a record on or something, you didn't have much entertainment if you couldn't sleep at night, other than tapes and records. But yeah, nowadays, so we have everything we do. If you're like me, you probably have all your television stations on movies, shows. And lots of those aren't on those TV channels. So if I want to watch those, I can go down and put them on the now. So my day really doesn't get boring at all. The only thing probably is I tend to get a little bit sort of dissatisfied with things, reading things sometimes that drain my energy a little bit. Oh, you can get no TV. And that's why I said it's good because I can watch it on the phone now. And, our phones were, so little. And now, of course, they're fairly big. So I have a phone and I have an iPad for doing that. So if my TV was down, at least I'd have those. Hey, Melanie, how you going? So it's really good. So we were in a good time for lockdown. In Australia, they're easing up the restrictions a little bit. We're allowed to visit people now, so that's really good. I can get back to visiting my family a little bit, although they're still requesting that we have social distance even when we're visiting people. But at least that side of things has helped a little bit. It means I can get out and go and see people. The rate, we've probably been lucky in Australia at the moment with the rate of people sick and the rate of people in hospital, but it's always a concern that if they start moving things too quickly. 8 o'clock in California. I'm very well, thank you, Melanie. How are you going? Yeah, so hopefully it's sort of starting to go back to normal. Probably many parents now quite crazy from having all their children at home and trying desperately hard to do their job as well as homeschool their kids. So that I don't even know how people do that. So living alone, occasionally I get a little bit sort of flat and think this is it, but I know that there are people I work with that, will send me a message every now and again, or, write me a little email and say that they're a bit bored or whatever. So at least we have each other to keep each other company. But anyway, and I better get back to it. It's 1:10. I've been on for half an hour, so better get back to work. It's been a pleasure to catch you all again. I will get back on tomorrow, and I'll see if I can get on around about the same time. Let's try for about 12:30 tomorrow, Thursday. And then everybody knows that even if the bell doesn't go, they can keep an eye out for me then. And we'll see if somebody wants to give me a clue on what to talk about. I've left some of the subjects for the weekend because I know I can spend more time on the weekend and really talk to you about stuff. But if you're interested in talking about something, please just flick me an email. I can raise it and then you get a chance to talk about it over there. So you did miss a couple of the little readings, the little mini reads I did right at the beginning. So if you want to go back and have a look at those, please do. I drew the animal spirit cards and got out the bee and the crow. So it was quite a little, really interesting combination of two cards, really. But go back and have a look. All right, I'm off. Much love to you all. Take care. Mwah, and thank you for joining me. No nails and all.